corrections to the minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved, and we will start out with an appointment to the library board. Another impressive resume. As you see here, a long, impressive resume.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I am here to present the requested appointment of Ellen Mabuke. I'm not great with the name yet, but I will be, hopefully. Ellen will be replacing a trustee that left our board. She has wonderful experience in the field of communications.
I see that.
And one of the projects that we've worked on for about 10 months at the library this year was some strategic planning, which involved a lot of surveys and communicating with the public. And one of the things that we discovered, maybe at the top of our list, is that the library needs help and guidance in communicating all of the wonderful materials and programs that we offer. We offer a lot, but we are librarians, which is a wonderful thing, but our field is not strictly communications. And we feel this appointment will bring a very much needed skill set to our board of trustees.
That makes good sense. Every time we have a meeting with you folks and we try to get out to some of the libraries periodically, it's overwhelming sometimes, all the different programs and services that you offer. So to be able to communicate that to folks is a big job. And yeah, looks like she has a lot of good communications experience. So any questions?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. Thanks.
Thank
All in
you so
favor?
much.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Good to see you. All right. Back. Archie, we have some facilities improvements and various that we'll let you explain here. Number 2A.
Well, good morning, folks. Thank you for your time. And as you all know, we presented these projects back when the CIP was presented by Dan to your members. And the first one is item A. So that is our security improvements. These are primarily equipment-related purchases and implementation into various buildings. Our focus is the Civic Center, the County Office Building, but then the other buildings around here, such as the criminal courthouse, this courthouse, and it could potentially move in the ensuing years into our other facilities in the county that certainly have a need for a higher level of security than we've been able to deliver so far. The only construction related at this time, although possibly some other construction or improvements could happen, is a reconfiguration of the employee entrance
Civic Center?
in the Civic Center for the potential for screening employees as well as the public. Right? Our intention is to be thorough in our screening, and these funds will help us get there and help make the buildings and all of our employees and public safer.
So this is a continuation. We've talked about this before in
Correct.
detail, what the various measures are, and everything is kind of going on time. And
Yep, and you've seen that we've implemented a preliminary step in the Civic Center and the County Office Building of screening public coming in, where we do have magnetometers, we do have the scanners. We are looking to acquire the x-ray machines and that for a better level of this. So far, it's gone well. We, to our satisfaction, we haven't discovered a lot of dangerous weapons, but there are a lot of things that we've made folks leave the building, return them to their vehicles, come back, that have potential to be weapons. I mean, a lot of folks still come in with knives. That's a very common thing for them to come in. Especially males will come in because they believe it's a utility tool of theirs, but we keep that away. But we've uncovered some of the other things too.
So last year we borrowed equipment from the amphitheater and different places. So this is going to replace, buy new so you can give that back, or what's the?
Yes and no. So on that same note, there is an upgrade to the scanning equipment.
Newer technology?
The newer technology that's going to occur at the amphitheater, right?
Oh, okay.
So they are buying a newer version of things, and we only borrowed 2 of them, so we're going to need to double that up.
Yeah.
And we will be purchasing new stuff like the scanners for folks that are mobility impaired to make it easier on them. X-ray machines so we can pass stuff through through the x-ray scanner, and to purchase more, multiple pieces of this equipment to deploy at other buildings as well.
For anything we do in this building, do we get any state reimbursement for that if we do any upgrades here?
We haven't uncovered that yet. Doesn't mean that there isn't a potential for that. I think the state measures have gone into satisfying the court security measures.
Right.
They may look at it as though, there's 2 streams of funding when they may only want to have 1. So we have to talk through that. This also does include some additional surveillance. So we want to implement quite a bit more cameras, and we need to upgrade the storage capacities within our surveillance servers now. Most of them are 2015, and they're not able to be expanded on much longer unless we lose a lot of the time in archiving. So it really doesn't make sense to archive for only a week. Right. We're just below 30 days now because we keep adding cameras. We would prefer to have an archive of at least 45, potentially 90.
If I remember, there was, over at the Civic Center, there was gonna be some altering or disruption of the entrances and stuff.
That's the employee one for sure.
And that's gone,
Yes.
okay.
So we have that design. We designed it in-house with our architects, and we're ready to put those packages out on the street as soon as we have funding available.
Anything else?
I seem to remember that some of the staffing related to the security things we discussed was done on a contractual basis. And if I remember, some of that was going to be sunsetting. Any updates on that?
So we're carrying that in the operating budget this year.
Okay.
I can't capitalize labor, right? Because it doesn't have a 15 to 20 year useful life.
Sure.
Can't be considered an asset. So that this year it's in our operating budget. We're going to play it out, see how that works. Once we get more equipment and more functions going, we'll have to show you that next year's budget.
Okay.
Which, probably won't be till early fall of
Sure.
next year.
Okay, is there
I'll move it.
a second? Thank you, all in favor? Are you good? Okay.
Yep, so item B would be our continuing the rehabilitation of the HVAC infrastructure and systems within this building. We have completed phase 1, which you previously authorized. We are in the the middle of phase 2, which you've previously authorized. This will allow us to continue over the next few years and to complete what we expect we need for investments in gaining another, 20, 25 useful years out of this system. I think we've done okay without disrupting you folks too much. This next phase will include the purchase of some larger, more valuable pieces of equipment, so air handlers and some other control devices that have a greater expense to them, and we're asking for $7 million to continue that. What this will help, Mr. Chairman, is to alleviate the condensate pans failing during a caucus.
Coming from the ceiling. Nothing notices or other.
Good to know, yeah, various places with buckets scattered around. Okay, so this is phase 2, getting permits in the spring or like now?
So we're ready to finalize the bids for these ensuing next phases, and as soon as we have the release of funding, we'll begin those measures.
So is this the phase 3 final phase then? Or is there phase 4 or just where we are in the process?
You're correct. It would be the final phase, but it will be over the period of 2 or 3 years instead of over the period of a year.
Gotcha. And back to my previous question, reimbursable, some of it?
Has the potential for reimbursement through NYSERDA and National Grid incentives,
Okay, but not through the court system.
not that we've seen.
Okay,
So through energy sustainability applications,
sure.
we have the potential to receive some defraying of that cost.
Okay.
That's a good question.
I was gonna ask about some of the larger pieces of equipment that you mentioned, and you kind of started to address it there. Has there been much progress in terms of the Energy Star ratings and things like that? Are we gonna see major improvements in our efficiency there?
So we're definitely going to see major improvements in our efficiencies. Energy Star ratings are more of an award to us.
Sure.
And an actual recovery of funds. So in the personal sector, Energy Star ratings help those individuals and those companies out with lower loan rates, with some tax reimbursement, some incentives. We're not part of those, so we don't get to we don't get to see anything.
More of the forward-looking costs.
Definitely forward operating costs with a more efficient operation of this building.
What's the vintage of the current equipment?
Some of it is original. So some of the infrastructure for especially the conveyance of the steam and the hot water,
Sure.
meaning the pipes,
Yep.
are original to the building.
They had heat when they built this thing?
Yeah. Where the fireplaces?
Well, they had, I mean, it was different, it was certainly a coal-fired boiler that, it's still heat up steam water for heat. So some of the pipe work within concealed spaces is still of that vintage.
Interesting.
And we're gonna keep
Impressive
that.
that lasted that long run.
I mean, for what it's worth, this is one of our more efficient buildings. It would be hard to believe that.
Stone is a good insulator.
All right.
Once this heats up, it doesn't take as much to keep it warm.
Yeah.
Once it cools down, it doesn't take as much to cool it down. To go from start to scratch, to go from cool to hot, or go from hot to cool is difficult, right? So that's trouble. And the individual zoning of the areas right now, as you all well know that have been here a while, that you don't have comfort level that we can target specific areas. As an example, we need to start a day early, you know, during budget time, when you're filling that room with all those bodies, we need to start cooling it down a day ahead of time.
There's a lot of hot air in there, budget time.
I wasn't gonna go there, I was leaving that as a slow pitch.
Yeah, that was a hidden curveball, I mean, that was, yeah, too easy.
That was one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay.
Move it.
Thank you. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Yes, thank you.
So our last item is our ongoing investment in various buildings, various county properties of $500,000 a year. And we're gonna ask you to authorize that again this year. It targets the things like roof repairs that we are unforeseen to us. Other HVAC equipments in various buildings, smaller renovations of work environments for our other departments. And some targeted interests if they come up during that particular budget year.
Okay, I was just looking back on this. So the Army Reserve Center, is that complete?
That's complete.
Everything's complete then?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
and
what I
they've,
thought.
you folks have been out there a couple
Oh,
of
yeah.
times, right?
Oh, it's great.
They're,
They did a nice job.
I know that Dan's done a good job utilizing everything that we turn over to them.
I think this committee has been there since it's been completed.
No.
That's just.
No, public safety went over once it was completed. We did the before, but we really never did the after. I was over there one day and I had a quick zip through from the folks, but they were still waiting for some of the
And they've, you know, even of lately, they've used it for some various weather-related potential events and announcements. You know, they're doing well out there.
Yeah,
Nice.
oh, that's great, great spot there. We'll have to get up there for
A lot of potential for training, for,
It
definitely
does,
for
and
everybody.
I know that they have quite a broad relationship with many different users that are coming out there, different
Right,
agencies,
Departments and the area and all that.
more local municipalities that are
They
using
have
it.
several outbuildings there, right?
They have one outbuilding that is a long maintenance type garage building. And that gets utilized, that's the security of their, you know, that's where they're able to put all of their equipment that they get. And be able to deploy it without trying to shovel it off, scrape it off, take 2 hours before deployment. You know, just like a fire station, they can come right out of the overhead garages and go to where they need them. A lot of their equipment, as you all know, is borrowed by other municipalities. Actually less used by us than other needy fire departments, rescues, smaller municipalities that can't afford that equipment.
I know they're looking maybe the basement down the road to do
They
some
are.
upgrades so
Yeah.
they can expand the training.
That's what Dan has talked to me lately of that, to try and begin some preliminary planning of that.
Yeah, so I was wondering, there's more potential there.
Yeah,
There is.
different simulators and things like that they could do for, training. Excellent, I'll move it.
Before we move it, this is a pretty standard item that we see every year. There's a lot of uncertainty inherent to what these costs are, but is that $500,000 figure usually a pretty good approximation for what gets spent?
I spend it every year.
Yeah.
I may next year come back to you folks for an increase in that as we've been utilizing that target now for, I think, 7 years in
I
a
was
row.
gonna say a long time, yeah.
So you know, certainly to your point, I think, you know, now that we've experienced some settling of the inflation a little bit,
Sure.
you know, we can target it where, you know, we may have to increase that. I'll have to come to you folks.
Good to know what's on
Give you
the
a very
horizon.
Give you a very detailed explanation of why, but I will do that come fall.
Okay, I'll second if nobody has anything else.
Did someone move it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, thank you. I lost that, sorry. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Thank you, Archie.
Thank you again, folks.
I saw you saying like.
Archie, Archie.
How's everybody doing today? Hi, how are you? Nice to see you.
They tell you why I haven't been there, I'll tell you after.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Are you buried out there? in the,
We are, we definitely got ourselves undug, but just Onondaga Lake Park this morning, probably 7-8 foot snowbanks, can't see out the windows going toward the parking lot. Zoo, yesterday, we were a little concerned with the zoo and the fish hatchery. The fish hatchery has those protective nets over the trout ponds, and heavy wet snow falls on them. 3 or 4 years ago, they all crashed, and we had to figure out a way to get those replaced. So we were worried about that. We were worried about the zoo, but our staff was great. I mean, they pretty much worked around the clock to keep everything open. You know, our equipment has been awesome through that. Didn't need to rely on the DOT for anything. We were able to take care of it all ourselves. So yeah, we're out. Parks are usable, and Highland Forest and Beaver Lake are busier than you know what today. So yeah,
Oh, well,
it's great.
I talked to my daughter yesterday. She's in New York City and she wants to come up. She's like, I'm gonna come up and
Yeah.
go to Beaver Lake and go to utilize some of the winter parks up there. So
Well, that is a good transition into these projects, because these projects are all about the spring and the summer. And I think that's exactly how everybody wants to be thinking right now. So we've got some great things lined up here. Oneida Shores, the great thing about these Oneida Shores projects is Deb can attest to, and a few others in the room, these projects have all either been in the CIP for quite some time, or ones that we looked at with this committee when you folks came out on site. We walked around all the different areas, if you remember, and we identified projects that needed to happen immediately, or ones that we could stick in the CIP. So every single one of these projects reflects those conversations for the most part. What's nice about this is we'll be able to put bows on a lot of things at Oneida Shores now, and really open up that place for tourism. As you're aware, we invested a whole bunch of money into the boat launch area, and that has been a major success. After these projects here, we'll have a bow on the campground area, and hopefully we'll have a new changing and restroom type facility over at the beach area that we all looked at. That really puts us in a position to not only to attract out-of-town guests to our campgrounds, but we can really go after some of the larger scale fishing tournaments. Some of the feedback we've gotten back, and it's been in particular to that campground. That was where we were kind of missing out in terms of folks staying with us. Paving the roads, paving the sites, both no-brainer projects. So all of that stuff certainly brings us to where we want to be with these projects. The only thing in this plan here that we didn't discuss at that meeting was the floor resurfacing at the Arrowhead Lodge, and that just needs to happen. It's the original floor. We buff it, we sand it every year, so that is time for replacement. But yeah, again, these are all projects that were on its way to the forefront, and ones that will position us very nicely, not only for the local community, but out-of-town guests as well.
how old is that building, Arrowhead?
Oh, early 80s. And it's falling apart, so, and the goal would be, if you've ever been out to you guys have all been to Janesville, we've been there before, that's what we want to do. At Janesville Beach, we have the offices, we have the showers, we have the lifeguard area, we have it all based out of one area, and that will make us more efficient. And in terms of the staff, like right now, we have certain staff, because of space, that works up in the regular offices, and it's separated, the other half down by the beach area. Now we'll be able to have all that staff down there and really be able to control that area and look at it.
Right, yeah, I remember some of these, when I was looking through this, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Any questions?
With Oneida Shores, what has the revenue and attendance looked like, especially with a lot of the people coming in, fishing and whatnot?
So that's a great question. So typically our revenue numbers at Oneida Shores are in that $250,000 range, or 2,000 people range. Right now, I was looking at the attendance because we just turned it in for the state of the county. That was up over 310,000 at Oneida Shores this year. Revenue will be up a little bit, but where we're really going to be strong going forward with this plan is the pay gate that's installed and ready to go. So now we'll catch a lot of those boaters in the off season. So you'll see those revenue numbers jump up quite a bit. But revenue wise, we were a little up, but then we had to close the beach, you know, for the E. coli stuff there.
Yep.
You know, one of the things we'll be looking at down the road to kind of mitigate that is some splash pads out there. That's another thing that we've talked about that'll eventually find its way into this plan. You know, people still need a way to cool off, and especially at Oneida Shores because you have the built-in audience. That campgrounds there, it's tougher when things are closed there because so many people book based on amenities. So, but yes, we've been up, and we're happy, and we'll go even more up after this stuff.
So the pay gate, will this season be the
First season.
for the
Yep,
pay gate?
absolutely.
Thanks. Odizia, second?
I'll second it with a reminder that we do have parks south of the freeway.
Splash
So I'm glad you brought this up because Dan has done a great job here and kind of arranging the way we're doing this now. I feel that this might be the format going forward. Pick a park or a district, hit 6 or 7 projects, then the bonding amount makes sense, and we're not duplicating the various that we're going to talk about right now. Dan, when we went through the plan, saw a lot of duplications in each, and it made good sense to put everything in here, bond for it, and then, you know, something to talk about going forward. Seems like it makes sense this way.
All in favor? Thank you. Passed. Okay. Now, let's get to the various.
Yeah, the various is our yearly ask. It's, you know, this is our yearly ask. Most of this addresses safety concerns, infrastructure concerns, and when we can sneak something in there that, you know, is new to the public, we do that as well. As I say every year, this is by far our most important project because it gives us flexibility in an emergency type situation. We used to have preventative maintenance accounts way back when, and we kind of went in a different direction with that. So this project certainly gives us the opportunity to take care of, you know, the goal is to take care of what we wrote down here, but at the end of the day, it allows us to pivot and take care of emergencies, and it's a really useful tool for Mark and the team out in the field. So yeah, our yearly ask, and as you read through, you can see most of these are safety related or well-needed upgrades.
Yeah, we appreciate this. This is nice to kind of have see what's completed, what's
Yeah.
in completion,
Yep.
what's kind of maybe coming, and what's in process. So that's great. I told you we do want to get out to the park maybe for a meeting
Yeah.
this summer and take a look at the marina area over there. This is not a good time to do it.
Project's coming along nicely, though. Project's coming along nicely. Yeah.
Look forward to coming out over there this summer. Any specific questions on any of these?
How are the trails looking at Beaver Lake? Those have started being replaced, right?
Fantastic. Right. So that boardwalk trail, yeah, it started. We're in the process of it now. First phase will be done in April, and then we'll be working with our friends group, and then maybe coming back to these committees to talk about the second phase. First phase of that project was about $2.5 million, is what the county already has invested in it. Second phase, we're predicting around $1.5 million. So we'll certainly be looking at our friends group for some help with that project.
I have a question about the playground.
Yeah.
Did you have anyone come in and talk to you about like special programming or anything for the students with disabilities?
No, we haven't, and that would be awesome actually, because all the playgrounds, the one at Jamesville,
Yes.
The one at Onondaga Lake Park was already set up that way, and we're putting a brand new playground facility out of Highland Forest this year behind the lodge. Playgrounds are a big thing for kids. You come to our parks, family comes, that's the first place they go. So they're always busy, but no, I haven't had anybody come in and talk to me about programming or open ears. Sure, I'd love to do that if there's somebody out there that wants to. Yeah.
And remind me, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
One of the things that we've talked about in the past that I think we may have seen pop up at Jamesville perhaps is some of the accessible seating. To be able
Yes.
to access the
Yeah.
beach from different areas and things like that. Is that an
Yep.
option within the county?
That's an option within the county. We're still looking at a lot of those accessibility things. The track wheelchairs
Yes,
for the
right.
trails. But yes, that absolutely is. And I believe and I'll check Cody and I'll get back to you. I think our director of recreation, Lico, has some quotes on that and was planning on moving forward with some of that seating
Excellent.
this year.
Yeah.
But I'll follow up with you after I talk to her.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you
that's
for raising the
important.
question. It's important.
Yeah, I know they've talked about that at the zoo also, some additional,
And we've had so much, as you're aware, last year in the CIP, we made Long Branch completely accessible. We paved the roads, we made things, so accessibility is always on our mind. 4 Liter May, was on us about e-bikes. We were against those, but I will say it's one of the best things we've done out there, giving folks the opportunity to, see the trail in the park without pedaling. So we're those are great projects, and we're always thinking that way.
cool. Anything else? Okay, look forward to, yeah, all in favor?
Thanks. Oh, all right. When the weather breaks, let's come out and look at some of these
Yes,
things. Okay.
absolutely will.
We'll see you guys. Have a good one. Nice seeing you.
Okay, if there is nothing further, we will adjourn this meeting. Thank you all for.
My daughter was out of town for a day, so dad's night, father's son night, they made pizza.
He's very big. Are you doing?
Freaking
I got my.
dove in after that picture.